I'm assuming everyone can hear me. Byron White here with Aaron.
We got people in the waiting room. Do we have to manually let all those people in as we go, or
I let everyone in, I believe.
it's, I don't know if it's set to auto accept or anything.
Okay.
So it may just,
Admit all.
yeah. And
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's going to have to be done for each time.
Yeah, that's not a fun setup, is it? Yeah, they keep coming in. Can you go see them over there out of curiosity as a co-host?
Yeah, I can see them.
Okay. Can you let them in?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. New job description for you.
Senior button
Oh,
clicker.
wait, let me see. Participant can chat. Okay. All right, everyone. Byron here. We've got a small group in so far. We might have a few more people coming in the next minute or so. Aaron's going to monitor the activity, so we'll hold on for just a minute or so before we start away. We want to encourage everyone to use the chat with us to tell us you can hear us, and you can offer feedback into the chat, post your questions. Let's start out by making sure everybody can use the chat by chatting where you're from. So I can read off the list and we can get some feedback from people to make sure everybody can connect and communicate and collaborate with us. I'm not seeing any chats so far. Oh, here we are. Good. Denver, Buffalo, Boondocks in Tennessee, Denver again, Richmond. You two Denverites ought to get together. Austin, well, not actually together, socially distanced, of course. South Florida, Brooklyn. All right, great. Boondocks of Georgia. That's two Boondocks, different states. San Diego. Hi, Rebecca. Tampa. Good stuff. Great. Well, we're really excited to have everyone here today, and this call is being recorded, and we will share it with everyone directly as soon as we possibly can. Give us about a day to get it up, and we will look forward to getting feedback today and your comments and ideas for betterment, as you can see from today's agenda. So thanks for showing up, and thanks for your patience as we continue to improve the launch of our new platform, which was about a year and 4 months of Aaron's time to launch this beast, along with a few other developers that we brought in. But Aaron wanted to personally review and look at every line of code, tens of thousands of lines. So hats off to Aaron for the launch. Certainly debatable whether my decision was a good one to launch mid-COVID, but I'm here to report that we made it through, and I appreciate everyone's patience in getting acclimated with what was new and fresh and different in a new UX, and hopefully we've cleaned up most all of the problems that have come to us through the talent channel, and we're still working on some bugs and fixes on the client side, but things should be running smoothly. So first, some of you might be interested in learning how we're doing in the first 6 months of the year. Interestingly enough, writer access for the first 6 months of the year has actually grown almost 16%, which is mind-boggling and hard, I'm sure, for some of you to believe. But we've been very fortunate to have an extremely diverse customer base of about 7,000 or 8,000 customers that have been active with us in the last year. Some of them certainly fell off, and that's sad news for certainly some of our talent and for them. But a majority of them have held their ground and been consistent with our billings. So we're very proud of that data and proud to continue growing. We, of course, basically behind the scenes, we had an incredible growth in our first quarter of almost 30%. We then sort of flattened out if we compare writer access with 2019. For that second period of time, we were kind of flat with our growth, but we held our ground. We had no layoffs with any team members. We had significant payouts to all of our freelancers, not terribly down. And overall, we were very, very excited to have a solid track record through the pandemic. So hats off to everybody for hanging with us, particularly with the launch of the new platform and giving us immediate feedback on what was working and not working. We made it through, and we're now well positioned for growth, which is really exciting. Next up, we have some significant upgrades and updates to the profiles. We've added a whole bunch of industries, and we now have 3 different sections of the industries that I want you to study and pay attention to. My guess is you haven't looked at that in a long time, but I certainly want to give you the opportunity to go and take a peek at that and hopefully put your name in as an applicant for some of these new industries, because we literally have no writers in like at least 10 or 15 new industries that we launched. Everyone was a bit unhappy with the previous list of about 50 or so industries maybe 60 that we originally had. We moved the similar names of some of the industries over into some of the new categories so we could at least populate some of those industry niches. But a lot of new opportunity for you to get listed. And we have a huge initiative, which the whole CS team has been working on, and that is to try to find our top 100 writers and talent in each industry, in each project type, and each skill. And to list those with a special news search that will be called Editor's Pick, where we've hand reviewed and hand massaged our customer success team's recommendations on the best of the top 100 in each of the 3 categories that you're seeing here: industries, project types, and skills. Hopefully this will help our customers quickly find our recommended writers. We're not necessarily doing that by your star level. We're doing that by looking over your actual work, the exceed expectations you've had, reading some of your work. It's a very tedious task. We've been doing it for months now while COVID's going on, so we can be ready to launch some new categorizations and some new search results, which are hand-picked, vetted search results. So we're very excited about that. So take advantage of that by going in and applying for some new industries or new project types that we've added. And we've added a whole bunch of new skills, which we never had before. And if you could imagine, we had to do all of this in thinking more holistically. In our previous database structure, we had different, if you were a content strategist, you had to use a separate email account very often to access your writer account, and everything was parsed off separately. But now with a new platform and the new code base, it's much more holistic. So we have to think about our industries differently, and the same with our skills and our project types. So it's all packaged together and bundled in, and you have a great opportunity to help yourself, and by filling out some brief information and a sample, preferably a longer form sample. We've had a lot of comments from our customers and clients over the years that they want to see longer form samples so they can really look deeply at your samples. So time to update your profiles and get things moving. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to chime in while I'm talking here, but hopefully this is helpful. Another cool thing we're doing is we've launched Designer Access. You can go take a look. We'll be recruiting designers, web designers, illustrators, animators, photographers, and videographers. And that's exciting. We have people applying every day now, but we're looking to bring on quite a few people. We feel pretty solid by coming out of the gates with 200 or 300 people. But we're very finicky with who we're inviting in. And so it's typically right now, it's about a 10% chance of getting approved by us. We have a lot of people, for some reason, from overseas. We're not accepting any applicants from India at the moment. But we are reaching out to Australia, New Zealand, UK, Canada, a couple of other English-speaking countries where we're rolling out writer access as well as designer access in those countries as well. And that'll be very interesting. From what we understand, prior to the pandemic, overseas content marketing interest in services like ours have been growing even faster than in the US, probably because it's a little bit more crowded in the US. Not a lot of US-based companies are reaching out overseas to create content. So it'll be very interesting to see what Writer Access can do as we move forward. So let's see, a couple of, a couple questions. Thank you very much. What is define longer form content? So, you know, we're producing content now for customers that's for, 3,000 to 5,000 words. So that's my definition of long form content. If you don't have long form content for your portfolio, I would certainly understand that. And there are, of course, issues of disclosures of content that you've created and ghostwritten So there are issues there, but I would highly encourage you to think longer form as long as you possibly can when you post samples on your site. Number one, it shows you're proficient and interested in longer form orders, which pay more money. So I would think that's a good concept. I think where the trends of where Google is going with search results, most all of the search results you're seeing now for all of the major keywords are super informational and rich and long form in nature. Particularly the top 1 to 3 or even 5 listing positions at Google tend to link to pages with super deep content. That's what we're seeing. That's what our clients want. And sadly, our samples, that a majority of our samples that our writers and talent have on board are more like 300 to 500 word samples, not longer form content. I think that's hurting us overall, and we'd love to see you help that come together. Another question. I've worked as a full-time HR pro in the manufacturing industry, but haven't completed any manufacturing projects as a freelancer. Should I estimate the number of projects I completed during those 9 years, or not sign up for the manufacturing industry? I would sign if you were experienced in a HR pro in any, or a pro in any industry, meaning you have a comprehensive knowledge of authority websites in that industry, you've created content in that industry, you have samples of content that you've created in that industry. I would submit your application, and I would look at projects that you've completed related to that industry, and I would put as much data in as you can. I think the samples will be key. There's nothing wrong with submitting samples of your writing in an industry niche that have not necessarily been paid for by a customer. You can write a summary of what the goals and objectives were that you're trying to accomplish, and then the sample itself. This is particularly true with with the non-disclosure agreements that we have with our content. You can't duplicate any content that you've completed for a customer writer access, but you can create a new version of an article you've created that is completely original, that runs through Copyscape originality verification, is fresh and new and original, and has a new twist on it, maybe a new style, demonstrating your style flexibilities, or some punch, some snap, crackle, and pop, I like to say. Or some things that you wish you could have done for a client that you weren't able to because they wanted it to be more compatible with some specifications that they might be having. So net, it's really up to you. But I would encourage you to apply for other niches so we can start filling some of these niches and have great search results for clients. Right now, we can't turn on any of the new industry niches or project types or skills because we have not completed our filling of some of those pipelines with at least enough to give customers a teaser. So have at it. You may pick up some work as a result of your hard work in going in there. Okay. Another question: if WA sees the value in longer form profile samples for both the writer and the platform, good results, would WA provide a stipend to? Sorry, the questions are coming in, so it's pushing this down. Where was that? A stipend. Would we provide a stipend? I guess that's, I don't think that we're in a position to pay for you to promote yourself on your profile. I think that would probably not be a good investment in our content spend. It would be a good investment in you, and I would encourage you to make an investment yourself in your profile, because that's where basically customers decide if they want to hire you or not. My investments in content are related to super deep, long-term, long-form content on all of our industry pages, which we're in the process of doing right now, and that's 75 pages. We're also building out super long-form content with our project types and our skill pages, offering tips and advice for customers for hiring writers with those expertise. We're going to be creating, I think it was 160 pages of content, and it will be long-form content. So matter of fact, look for some gigs, look for some jobs coming your way in these industry niches, and we'll be running a casting call for these pages. Reach out to Sarah if you are listening to this call and are interested in helping us build that content out. Now, what's interesting about that is if we did hire you and you had the skills to create content in that particular industry niche space, helping us with that organic content, you could actually use that on your sample. Clever. So, I have no problem with that. I would give you full disclosure rights to create any content that you create for Writer Access on your samples at Writer Access. And by the way, that includes probably 3,000 or 4,000 blog posts that you've created at Writer Access. You can absolutely use those in your samples and even disclose the fact that this is a blog post that ran on Writer Access. So have at it. That's a creative way around it. So let's see. So someone said, your last update was an utter failure. This is a horrible thing to say in a professional and/or setting. Let's be real. I get paid by the word. It's literally not my job to beta test your new software. Fair enough. Appreciate every question, and I'm going to get to all these questions. I'm not sure what question you have there. Maybe you do not believe that our launch of our software upgrade was a success. I do believe it was a success. Why? Our revenue held steady and we made it through the journey. If you happen to know much about software launches, they are all challenging. There's never a perfect launch where every aspect of the launch is a success. So I stand behind Aaron's work and our developers' work and feel like we did manage to succeed in at least maintaining our 2019 revenue base based upon a lot of other factors that were in our way. So again, sorry for your unhappiness, but certainly want to give you at least my thoughts so you can ponder those as you reflect back on your thoughts and opinions on Writer Access, which we are happy to accommodate learning your opinions. Okay, I got to that question. Will you post the benchmarks for penalties so we know? I'm going to go into that in great detail in just a minute. Are we protected by copyright and DNA with samples? I'm not thinking of ghostwriting samples, but things I don't want in the public domain. Samples are difficult. We're actually turning on a do not follow to all of our profile pages, which means the search engines will not be able to access the public version of your profile. We'll keep those so our customers can access those on the front end of the site for prospects, but they'll be accessing a limited number of those based upon really the top 10 talent in each of our 75 different industries. So we're going to limit the number of profiles, which means, and we're going to put do not follows on any of your samples. So the good news there is none of your samples will be spiderable or findable by the search engines or by anyone else other than someone on our website looking for samples of our writers. We are told from a legal perspective that will protect your work and our work. And we believe that we will be following all non-disclosure agreements that we have with our customers and with you, not to disclose any work that might be private in nature. But let's face it, in being in the talent industry for now 30 plus years, talent have a right to represent themselves, period, the end. They need to showcase their portfolios. They need to showcase their work to get other work. And to deny that to anybody is unfair. So we stand behind our ability to showcase your profile to our talent. They want to see it, and they can see it, in the lockdown mode. So that's my quick comment there. Responding to casting calls is all helpful for getting into new spaces. That allows you to explain your background without always having to provide samples. Completely agree. Thanks, Kathy. We get a lot of action. We're promoting casting calls. I think we've seen an uptick overall. Aaron might have an answer for us on that. But casting calls, if we did a chart, I can tell you they've definitely gone up. Our own talent use our own customer success team use casting calls. They want to get a pulse of who is truly interested in a client that they want to recommend. They look at the applicants and they make their picks. So keep up the great work with applying to casting calls. And please, please, please personalize those casting calls, because if you're just popping your name in, it's not really showing that you care too much about either the client or the work. Your chances are you're going to be passed over. But if that's what you have time for, then so be it. It's better than nothing, I suppose. But a personal gesture would be great. Thank you. Another support for Aaron. Aaron rocks. Platform was a success. The best decision ever to do it during COVID when people were less likely to record content. Thank you. Appreciate that. Always going to have some. Okay, so thank you. appreciate that. We try our best. We do a good job. But again, everyone's opinion is important to us. If you're frustrated, we'd rather you hear it here and try to at least explain our side of things so everyone could hear their points. Why are we putting do not follows on samples when you just explaining the ranking Google as a justification for us using long form samples? Very, very good question. Okay, let's talk a little bit about SEO for a second in very quick, simple terms. There are about 7,200 pages on Writer Access right now. And imagine when Google looks at all of the pages on Writer Access, they're seeing about 4,500 profiles that are listed algorithmically for Google to spider. When you look at those profile pages, they really don't have contextually relevant content on them that supports us using keyword phrases like hire freelance writer or hire content strategist or top freelance writer or even tips for writing great content or content marketing secrets for success. Google it's better for us to have rich, deeper content on our pages that help Google searchers answer questions they have about content marketing, hiring writers, contracting writers, and things like that. The profiles alone, frankly, look spammy. There's a lot of keyword density that is the same on every single one of the profiles. So that's the SEO recommendations we've received from pretty smart, savvy people we're looking into. We're going very big with SEO and content marketing in general. To move our company forward, to decrease our user acquisition costs, and to acquire new customers. So hopefully that's a behind the scenes look at what's going on there and was helpful and remotely interesting for at least some people. Okay. Wait, does this mean we're allowed to use ghostwritten work as samples? I've always treated that as a big no. Only you understand your contractual arrangements with the clients that you've worked with. I don't have an answer for you as to what you yourself are legally bound to do or not do. I can only suggest to you that our customers want to see your samples, and it is up to you to provide samples of your work or representations of your work that are not in violation of any contracts that you may have with your clients. So, that's what I would suggest to you, is you need to be careful and do what you believe is the right thing. Okay. Please explain the talent star rating system. I'm going to get to that, and we're going to have a fantastic discussion about the star rating system on the agenda today. Okay, all right. So I got to a lot of the questions. I think there's a couple more. I have a client contacted me directly, and I can't find the project. Here's what I've tried so far. Click the link. Okay. Someone has a question about a particular problem they're having. Can't answer that now, but open up a help desk ticket, and our amazing CS team will jump right on it. We have thousands of writers. Someone wants to know how many writers we have on the platform that are with active profiles. It's in the thousands. It's certainly a extraordinarily large database of writers that we've screened and vetted. It's a monstrous database of people, like hundreds and thousands that we have not approved. So we feel like the right marketing game is to build up a pool of 100 writers in each industry with each asset type, representing all of the star levels that we want to represent, 10, 20 star rating writers in each star level. That is what our goal and objective is in the next 3 to 6 months. We're actually pruning down our writers. We want a fair representation of talent that is able to flex their style enough and deliver on the needs of our clients coming in, that have the proven skills at various price points in our star level system. That's what we're aiming towards. So, you can certainly do the math, and if we had one writer per industry niche, we'd have 7,500 different writers when all is said and done. But that will not be the case, because we'll be allowing writers to have top 100 listings in, say, 3 or 4 different industry niches. But what we're not going to do is to have a writer have 40 industries that they're covering content in. why, as we move forward with what Google really wants and what search engine seems to need for success, it's longer form content, it's deeper knowledge, it's deeper research, it's frankly a higher skill level, which I hope means higher rates for all of you. Someone's asking, do you want us to focus on niche? Definitely. I don't think it needs to be one niche. I think that many of you are talented writers, particularly at this, if you enjoy doing 3, 4, 5-star work, and it pays great, you can crank out the articles fairly quickly. You have enough knowledge in that topic area to be able to do that quickly with great knowledge and authority, and their smaller 500 word pieces, great. But I think for the super status, for the 6 and what could be my wish of a 7-star writer someday, which is a writer that only works on, by request, I will tell you what I will charge you for this rate. And I would love a poll. Who likes that, by the way, introducing 7-star writers that are by appointment only and will look over your project and give you a quote. I'd like to hear a thumbs up or thumbs down, or yes, I like that, no, I don't. So we're getting some good feedback there. That 7-star picture, where's that for a 6-star rate? Yes, it was on the 6-star rates. We seem to have a 6-star rate that's sort of like 10 cents a word up to $2 per word, which works great for writers, but it still puts that writer into a mode where they have to, get pigeonholed into a particular rate. And truthfully, with that 6-star rate, we're not seeing $2 a word prices. And it's hard to place an order, that's like, say, a direct mail piece, or direct response writing or copywriting. There might only be 20 words on the above fold section of your website, but they're the most 20 important words that define your business, what you do and how you do it and why you're different. It's very hard to get paid even $2 for that. So, I think that some of these rates, some of the ways we need to work with clients need to change a little bit. And I'm not sure if 6-star alone does that. And someone's saying just take 6-star and make it 10 cents and up. Or 10 cents as the starting point you're paid, maybe they were saying. You get the idea. It's constantly challenging. Now, it adds more complexity over here when we're bringing in content strategists that are primarily working by the project now, and designers, illustrators, animators, photographers. These are people that desperately need project rate prices. And that is certainly not a star level concept. That is a look over my skills. Let's try to validate what my rates are, and then go from there. Okay, good lively discussion. Editors as well. Is there anything specific editors should be doing to become more discoverable by prospect clients? Just please spruce up your profiles. We're going to be selecting the top 100 editors we have. I don't believe we have need for more than 100 editors. So we'll be hand selecting our best of the best. So just make sure your profile's updated to the best of its ability. But we're going to make a very big push for editing services. There's a couple of businesses in the marketplace. Scribendi is one of them that's doing incredibly well worldwide. And we've gotten to know them a little bit, and really like what they're doing and like how they're positioning themselves. One of the things we don't like is this concept that they do rewriting of like college papers and editorial work for students. So that's where we have typically drawn the line. But it must be a pretty big business, that and a bunch of other editing they're going after. And we're going to try to make that business a little bit more front-end friendly, to submit work, have an editor take a look at it quickly and offer some thoughts on it. So we're working on some sort of almost casting call style work out to editors, where you can place an order to editors and have somebody take a look at it as a better way to engage with an editor that you're considering working with. Yes, There's no deadline on when your profiles need to be updated other than tomorrow, just kidding. But we're very, very anxious to get the profiles up. I think that Aaron and I probably see a target date of August 1st to try to get everything, to get the new top 100 in each industry niche up and loaded. It might extend beyond that, but we feel like we can probably turn on the editor's pick results, which won't be the full list of 100, but it'll give our customers a quick, easy list to the legwork that our CS team has done. Yep, we're getting feedback on that. A lot of editing, a lot of term paper editing. Yep, we're seeing that too, and we're not terribly interested in that service unless we got a bunch of editors that said, Byron, we want more editing work. That's a copacetic thing to do now. All the students are doing it. I just don't have a flavor for that, what's really happening over there in the academic community. Just didn't feel right to myself or Aaron and our team members. Okay, well, let's go look at a couple things then. And thank you very much for your feedback, both positive and negative. Bring it on. We're transparent. We're doing the best we can to listen to what your needs are. All right, let's go through some of the fun stuff that I wanted to today. To just first go through some of these. Well, yeah, so you know, we're going to go through some delivery of orders where the root of this problem all began. We've had a lot of orders that are not delivered on time for a whole bunch of reasons. Number one, when the new platform launched, we sort of did away with algorithmic scoring and performance reports, and everything really changed. People learned that we were not going to be pulling jobs from them, and as a result of that, I think things slipped a little bit. We didn't want to ruffle feathers and take that opportunity away. We wanted you to have your work through the COVID crisis. We wanted to, you know, try to just stabilize the platform and not change too much. But it's time to right the ship and get orders delivered on time. And we're going to show you some pretty deep thinking we've put in, a pretty good plan that will allow us to work a little bit differently with both clients and writers. We're going to talk about penalty assessments and star ratings, and we're going to go through the rewards program. Holy mackerel, you're probably sick of hearing me talk right now, but thanks for listening. I appreciate it. As you can tell, I've got a lot of energy. I can talk a mile a minute. But if I'm saying something too quickly, feel free to pop up a chat again and say, slow down, Byron. I want to see that slide again, or whatever you want. But we're only going to go through about 10 or 15 slides that I think help, and then we'll come back to this ideas for betterment. We're actually looking at some healthcare options that some of the larger sites like Fiverr and Upwork offer some of their freelancers. It's getting easier for you to get healthcare through a service like Writer Access, but we're looking into what the rules and regulations are and what we need to do to try to make that service available. So let's some feedback there. There are new tools you want. You know, what do you think about the rewards we have right now? You know, are there any other questions? So we'll carry on. All right, let's take a look. So this all starts with our desire to not have to read the minds of our clients that are typically all leaving the 5-day default on as the standard option by which they want to communicate with us and have their projects delivered, right? So the question is, you know, okay, should we, you know, how can we build flexibility into that? How can we not have to, you know, how can we get projects delivered on time, but how can we build flexibility into it? So the first thing you see is we've parsed out the order delivery section in the order form, and we're saying, great, 5 days, and we're putting a very important checkbox. Will you allow the freelancer to request a delivery extension? We are going to default that on, very possibly. We're going to test, do we default it on? Do we default it off? Do we want them to truly confirm that they can request delivery extension? But that will allow you to submit a delivery, that will allow you to have the option to submit a delivery request extension if they have that on. So we're debating that and want to get your thoughts on that, certainly as I present this. What we're also asking them to do is to not have to come back and actually approve your request. We're asking them to say, look, can you pre-approve an extension request of up to 24, 48, or 72 hours? I think anything beyond 72 hours, we thought they should probably be in a position to want to approve that. And we've heard from some writers that sometimes long form content by default does require another week or two to create. And their contention is, my client knows that. I kind of have an understanding with them, because back in the old day well, the new day, I should say, when the platform launched, it was sort of gray. The job was not going to be pulled back from you, but you were trying to communicate with your client to say, hey, these are longer form pieces of assets. I know you told me 5 days or 7 days or whatever it is, but I'm going to need more time to deliver this, just so you know. So that was happening, but it was happening with private messages. And that is just not healthy for anybody for our CS team to have to read through files to understand there was an extension, to not get stressed when orders were not being delivered on time, and to do legwork. If you can imagine, there's thousands of orders going through writer access, every week, sometimes every day. It's crazy. So we needed to have a better system, and that's really where this all began. And we knew this moving forward. All right. So when you pick up an order, you obviously have a countdown. You can see some data on it, but what you'll also be able to see is a request extension button. So you will have the opportunity not to have to message your customer, but to fill out this request extension form, which will trigger some cool things to happen. You'll say, how much extra time do I need? Am I going to, is it okay to put in a reason? Can I document my rationale for wanting the extension? The project is a little bit too tedious, or I have a really busy week this week, or I'm on vacation working only part-time. Whatever it is, just let your client know and send the request. Now notice a few slides back, if you're only asking for 24, 48, or 72 hours, the client may have already pre-approved that time amount, in which case you will instantly and immediately be approved the request for an extension. And all will be well, and it'll just magically be like, oh, great, I just bought 24 hours. This is fantastic. I can juggle my work a little bit better. So that's how this is going to work. Very simple, very straightforward. We're just asking you to document the extension request. The client will, unless they pre-approve this, will always have the opportunity to say no, but at least you will have learned that client really needs their job delivered in 24 hours. If the client fails to answer your extension request, you should assume that you have to deliver it on time. Granting the extension request will grant you the ability to shift your delivery date and not be penalized for the work being delivered late. That's the bottom line. And yes, if you are not delivering date, there will be a 3-hour grace period when your order is going to expire. But if you're not delivering on time and you have not been granted a request extension, then you will have the project pulled from you. It's just how it has to work, guys. And that's true for solo orders as well as crowd orders or StyleMetrics matcher orders. So you will have projects pulled from you now if you're not being granted extensions by your clients. They will see alerts, they will get kick emails, they will get all kinds of alert notifications when you request an extension, which will hopefully trigger them to take action. If they don't, you can always open a help desk ticket. You know that your Writer Access CS team is here to support you. If you have extenuating circumstances, we encourage you to reach out to us. They happen all the time. We're here to help you, but we are also here to make sure that clients do not have to play guesswork on when they'll get projects delivered. Seems pretty simple to me. We hope you think it's fair. We hope you think we've set this up the right way. Okay, so you can see here, there's a notification for extension pending. It has not been approved yet, but that's where you'll see your notification. And I do see a question, which I will definitely get to about things, but let me just finish the explanation here. But you will essentially only have one opportunity for an extension pending. So if you're not sure if it's going to take 24 or 48 hours of extra time you might need, ask for the 48 hours. Always ask for the maximum so you don't there will not be a way to come back to your customer for another extension. Now, when the order is pulled from you, it goes back to the customer. The customer could hit the reset button and send you back the order. That's absolutely doable. And they may choose to do that, but we give that choice to them on whether they want to send it to you again. And they might send it to you again, but they might say, I need delivering this in 3 days, or a minimum amount of time period, in which case you would then accept those terms. And you could, of course, send them a message saying, look, I can't get to this. It's going to expire in 3 hours. I'm going to send this back to you. If you want to give it to somebody else or send it back to the crowd, that's fine. But, you know, you need to move this forward. If there's still time left, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Aaron, because there are some details here that you've been working on in the last 24 to 48 hours. But if there's still time left on an order that you send back to the crowd, let's say, we would, of course, try to send that out to the crowd. But when it goes out to the crowd, it will be noted that the delivery date still stays the same. Someone's going to have to make a conscious decision to say, yikes, this order came in, the delivery date's tomorrow. All right, what the heck? I've got the time. Let me crank this out right now. Or I cannot do that, so let me send a message to the customer, or let me request an extension. I believe because it's been a dropped order, it's now a brand, well, it actually hasn't been dropped. I don't think that's a tricky one for Aaron. I don't think the extension request can continue can be asked twice. If the original writer asked for the extension request and dropped it, I don't know if it can be asked twice. It certainly can't be asked if the extension is already done. So we'll ask Aaron that question later on in case he's not.
I'm here. I just wasn't sure whether I was muted or not between Zoom and my manual mic shut off. But,
gotcha.
So yeah, the original, if a first writer reserves it and requests a deadline extension and the client approves it, the underlying order is modified. And then, immediately after that, if that first writer, unreserved the order and another writer picked it up, that the deadline has been the change has been executed on the order, and the new writer would get the new deadline. It's just because of how the deadline is tracked at the order level and not for the specific writer on the order.
Can you clarify the 3-hour grace period, Aaron? Do you have 3 hours after the deadline?
It's just that the housekeeping, the housekeeping, whatever the stated deadline is, the housekeeping's not going to reclaim it and pull it from your, I like to say your cold dead hands, but it's not going to pull it back to either inactive or back to the pool for somebody else until 3 hours past the stated deadline.
Another question on, do we have a way to message clients about order-specific items before accepting an order? Not giving a pre-order method of communicating and penalizing for not delivering doesn't work on long-form orders.
No, you have the grace period on acceptance, the 1 hour that we've always had.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's a and solo orders have the decline option where you can basically send them and it deactivates the order for the client to fix whatever was wrong, to adjust it.
Right.
But no, it's if it's something sent to, the full pool of writers at a 5-star level or something, there's hundreds of writers who could be doing it and would be probably happy to take it on without any exceptions.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Some people might not have realized there is a 1 hour grace period when you do pick up an order. That's the window to communicate with your customers. What's interesting is even if they don't answer your grace period and you turn the job back in, that message stays with the order, correct, Aaron? So the customer will see that, correct?
Yeah, the customer, so anytime you send a message, they get sent an email in their on-site inbox, as well as likely if they subscribe to the various alerts, they'll have received it in their Gmail or their Yahoo or whatever their personal email is.
Yeah, right. And so that might trigger them to rectify the problem, and then.
And if it was a declined order or something, the full history of everybody who's reserved the orders and any messages they've sent is also at the bottom of the order, as well as even an inactive order. Like when they're editing it, we put a copy of all that audit and trail and communication history at the bottom, so they'll always have generally an easy place to get to it.
Aaron, if a customer read that description, so let's say, hey, your price is too low, or your word count needs to be higher, this is a juicy topic, and the writer does drop the order, the message goes back to the client, how does the writer know that order would be that order would need to be re-released as a new order, correct? The
If it
customer
if
would
it if it
take
was a
that
solo,
down, correct it. Yeah,
if it was a solo, then yeah, because if they use the decline, it goes to the client's inactive bucket, so
I
it
see.
basically immediately deletes the order.
I
And
see.
if the client wants that order done again, they just go back into the order, tweak it, and click update, and it relaunches.
Got it.
You know,
That's if it's a
they don't
solo
have to
order.
create it from scratch.
Yeah,
They just need
right.
to tweak it
Relaunch
if
it.
they so choose, whether that's changing the spec to meet the requirements of the writer at hand, or changing the writer to somebody else because they think that somebody else will do it for you without the adjustment. That's whatever the client wants to do, but it puts it in the client's court to do any updates that are required before the order is relaunched.
Yeah, yeah, got it. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Someone noted that this occurs with solo orders. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, Scott, on what refers to solo orders. I'm not concerned about loveless crowd orders, and we probably, yeah, that makes sense. So we're just trying to get as much communication and this delivery communication by parsing this out separately to stay big picture with what this meeting is really all about. We really want orders to be delivered on time. That's really the bottom line. And that's why this whole system has been architected. But that's not it, as they say. There's a little bit more. So let me go through a couple more screens and then we'll have Aaron chime back in and answer some
Yes,
questions.
and yes, you can see whether the order allows an extension request before you pick it up. It's going to be in the deadline area where in the little box where it tells you what the estimated deadline is. It has a little notation above the box that tells you that they're turned on for the order. So you can see it right there next to deadline countdown or deliver countdown.
Extension requests allowed. Ah, got it. I actually didn't see that. That's cool. You might want to highlight that a little bit more. That's actually really kind of cool. Would you want to actually disclose what they selected or have it be guesswork?
No, because the auto doesn't really matter. That's up to the client's determination whether they're okay with what are varying amounts. Because when they say auto accept 48, it's still up to you to say I only need 24, and it's going to be auto accepted. 48 would be auto accepted, but if I needed 96 hours or 120 hours or whatever it's going to be, is the client has their own personal threshold for I don't care. Does
a prompt come back to the writer to say, got it, you need 72 hours, I will seek or I will seek permission for that or authorization for that, or if it says, oh look, you wanted 48, yes, we can auto approve this right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just wondering how where the guessing goes on here and how they could learn.
The only real guess should be the talent saying, how long do I think I need to reasonably complete this order.
I get it. But in your parentheses there, if it did say, and by the way, I'm glad everyone's listening to it. This is how Aaron and I think. You're getting a firsthand look with how people build software and go back and forth with one another and try not to kill each other at the end of the day is the ultimate goal for Aaron and I. Why wouldn't you want to put on there 24 or 48 hour extensions request allowed? Like, why? Just because that, right? They've said, the answer to that. You're just wanting to hold that back, just wanting to learn why you want to do that.
Because I like it that way.
Okay, there you go. Well, all right, writers, keep guessing.
It's just some things, until a driving need for it is really just showing showing your hand.
Yeah.
We're playing a game of poker here.
I mean, I think what matters is when the writer can deliver it. I think that's your point, and I kind of get that.
Either they need the time or they don't, is my view.
Yeah, but again, they're trying to work around the customer's inner true need here, so, I don't know. The other, yeah. So
the customer has to opt into it. Most of them probably wouldn't have an auto approve anyway.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, Aaron and I spent so many hours working and thinking this through. You're getting a teaser for it right now, but there's a lot of complexity with this, and it's all sides of that. We had a lot of interesting banter back and forth, and still love each other. Okay. Moving right along. So we've got request extensions. So there's your drop down. So when you do request an extension, this is what pops out.
And that's not a drop down. That's a box you can type in
slider,
anything,
right?
No, it's a box. It's a number box. Oh, this is the slide out. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay. But the number of hours there is a a number entry box, so you can use
Oh,
up
wow.
arrow, down arrow. You can put in any number. It's not a predefined list of 24, 48, 72.
Yeah.
You can put 103 in there if you needed to.
I mean, we could have a debate whether we here at Writer Access should allow writers to have up to 48 hours extensions by default automatically, the heck with the client kind of a thing. But I think
The
that
client kind of wants to
client
know when
wants
it's
it.
happening.
That's
They're sitting there refreshing their screen saying, why isn't it pending approval yet?
yeah, I know.
So that's where it comes down to. You're
Yeah.
requesting, it's not going to expire while an extension request is pending. So you can ask for 96 hours on your 4th of July weekend, and if the client's not rolling into the office until noon on Monday, the order wasn't going to get pulled on Sunday just because you have it. But if the client did work on a Sunday and they come in and say no, there's going to be a grace period from that point in time. If you're past the existing expiration, there's going to be a new expiration set in stone from the point in time where the client did express a negative opinion of your deadline extension request. But it's not going to immediately expire.
Yeah.
And if they approve it, you'll get the time for that you asked for, but it won't be pulled from you unless the client says no. And then we still give you some grace period from that point in time. But it may be the middle of the night. We can't give you forever. You should labor under the assumption that the extension request will be denied. Obviously you have clients that you work with that, say ask for all the time you need, in which case you just fire it and forget it, and you figure the client's just going to ignore them, and that's fine. That's up to the client. So they'll have probably set the auto approve for various amounts of time on the order form, but they could happily ignore your extension request. And while it's an outstanding extension request, if the client does nothing and takes no action, the order won't expire until your proposed extension has gone by.
Yep. And 2 questions here. And by the way, we're getting positive vibe on that, so that's good. That's good stuff. Thank you for that. If you put in like 120 hours here, like you're allowed to do that, right, Aaron?
5 days, yeah. Yeah, you can put in 1 million there, and it's basically never going to happen.
Goes back to, okay, I know, but I'm just saying there was a talent that reached out to me that does a lot of long form content. She has an understanding with her customers that these are just open-ended projects that she'll get to because she just plugs away at them over a 2 or 3 or 4 week time period. So we're going to see some requests in there for, many hours, right, on her particular orders, and the client will approve them. And she's
even
cool
if the client doesn't approve, the client will have received an email that at least gives them the heads up that says, this is the new deadline. Even if it's pre-existing understanding, whatever, and it's just a loosey-goosey, hey, I'm just pushing this out, and they have an understanding that pushed out in this case means just make sure it doesn't expire. Yeah.
Just looking for a question that I missed. It was about the pause button. Asking for increased word count also fits better with a pause button than an extension request. The pause is basically gone away. Everybody
Right.
should by now understand that. We can explain why that went away, but it became something that really screwed customers up with trying to guess on deadlines and deliveries. So here's a question. I'm not sure if you had another question about the pause button. I believe I just answered it. It's you need to message clients about any problem you have and look for answers back. And we've at least now we've isolated the extension request to be something that can be accepted or reject automatically. It can be accepted. Anyway, I think everybody understands what's going on. But if you have any other questions that I missed, my apologies. I'm trying to do it all here, which I will get back to. All right, so let's go to some star rating. I'm sure we're going to get some questions here. So let me review the star rating program in an interesting way, and that is prior to this star rating program that you're all looking at now, which is not designed perfectly quite yet. There's a lot of data on this page. We really didn't have a way to truly assess star rating in a simple and easy way. And we didn't have documented violations for any problems or programs or protocols for writers to follow. And it wasn't working. and it was subjective, and it just was not a great system. So we needed something new, and we needed to put a stake in the ground and say, what are we going to ask our talent to focus on? What are we going to track? And you can see some performance summary up top, which begins to show you what we are going to track. We can compare this to our overall talent in that particular star level, or that particular, how you stack up in general with the other talent in our pool. And we can see lots of data on here. We don't have to go over every line of this because you can see it, but we cared greatly about exceeding expectations, met expectations, below expectations. What's the quality of the work in your customer's eyes? But we know that's not everything. We spent a lot of money with an outside third-party resource called Skills Survey to allow you to get references that are all pulled into their database, and they shoot the database over confirming to us saying, yes, this talent has been confirmed to make $50 an hour or $100 an hour is working for me. And, you know, we hope that things like our verified pay through Skills Survey will help us assess your performance and your ability to make a higher pay rate at Writer Access. We look at the reviews, and we're bringing those back. We're also bringing back endorsements. I don't think those are available right now, but they will be soon. So, you know, we're going to look at as much as we can to assess your performance. We're also going to look at the number of extensions that you've requested and that have been granted, the number of projects that you've delivered on time. We're looking for patterns, and we're looking for reasons to say, this is an amazing person that has delivered on time, that abides by our terms and conditions, and is just a superstar in our platform with zero, that's flawless performance and 100% met or exceeded our expectations. No penalties, fantastic. That will be more in favor for you getting a star review than someone that's had level 4 with 12 violations confirmed and late order deliveries and terms and violations and below expectation reviews. Those are obviously not the performance that we want to review, that we want to see on anyone's performance. So Aaron has built a way to track all of this and to report on all of this so you can see it live. We can issue penalties when we need to. You can progress up the penalty pole and, you know, suffer the consequences, or try to completely restart all of this, which is what will happen. We're going to allow you to clear your program. When you hit these tiers, you're going to be able to you know, remove all of your delivery problems and terms and conditions, and basically reset once you hit these levels. Well, they'll actually be aggregated. Explain how that works, Aaron, because we went back and forth on this a couple of times. But how does the reset come into play with delivery terms and conditions? Or did we knock that out?
There's the restart timeline at level 4 there. That's basically more for the, you know, based on the top of the page that we're looking at is,
Yeah.
you know, us having a goalpost, you know, that, you know, at a somewhat not arbitrary distance of, you know, in this case, earnings, to say, we're going to take the time to actually review you, you know, come and look at your work, look at, you know, pull up some random, you know, spot check sample type stuff, you know, look at your communication, make sure everybody's happy and whatever. And, you know, if you're getting to the point of having a lot of penalties, we're going to reset you back to the 0 state on that, so that we're, you know, obviously we're taking a look at you because you've pulled some penalties, but we're not going to, you know, take a look at you for the purposes of saying, hey, you know, they're a 4-star writer, should we consider them for level 5?
Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, but we decided to basically start everyone at level 0, correct?
Everybody is out of the gates at level 0 here. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's just penalty. Yeah. We're right now we've been, you know, 3 months since release. Is that most everything has cycled out of that time view anyway. So even in the old system we had, is basically everything's within a moving window of time from today. So generally, yeah, everything is, you know, we haven't, had housekeeping that's pulled orders for timeout, except for when we turned on the pitch timeouts a couple weeks ago.
Yes, and all writers will maintain their star levels. There's only upward or downward you can go from where you are now. So let's be clear on that with everyone.
Yeah, again, this isn't about an automated, up and down anymore. This is about triggering a manual review so the talent team can come and say, should you go up or down?
Yeah.
Is we're not going to say you earned your 5-star. We're going to dump you to 4. We took that away a long time ago, where we started saying, hey, we're going to adjust garage spaces instead of your star rating, because it used to be star rating. We used to bump people up and down, or more down for penalties. Say, oh, you're not performing well, we're going to change the level of crowd order you get. We basically said you can have access to less crowd orders. If you're not performing well, we don't want to put you in front of some of our newer clients and stuff. We don't, if you're making clients angry and not delivering or writing bad content stuff, we want that to happen less frequently.
Right. So you can see that, a couple violations, you're going to get a warning. 4 violations, we're going to be penalized in search results for a couple of weeks. 8 violations, and you're going to get crowd orders suspended for a couple of weeks. 12 violations, and we're going to basically say, okay, we have to have a performance review with you. This is not acceptable. You cannot continue to not deliver orders or violate the terms and conditions or receive below expectation scores on your content orders. So I don't know of any other way to try and give people some flexibility, understanding that they could be having a bad day or not jiving with a particular client. We will be reviewing all of this data. We'll look at your help desk ticket submissions, which I'll talk about in a second, where you can explain and rebut any problems you're having with a particular client. And yes, there are going to be positives as well. We're going to get to that. And that's the reward program we're getting to next. So this is just...
That also kind of addresses the, hey, we're all starting from 0 again, is you're starting from, everybody's getting a clean slate for the purposes of this penalty stuff.
Yes.
And some of it is, I'm going to take like a snapshot of a while ago so that people aren't all starting with this $0 of, because that's, currently our projected metric for when should you come up for review. But no, that we have a separate system for rewards that nobody's starting from 0 is, it ties into the reward system that we had for, us sending out a water bottle and t-shirt and stuff. But also, having a badge and stuff that we're going to have in the new system that people are going to start where they were generally. And we'll get to that in a moment.
Yep. Thanks. So, the hope is that this looks fair. The hope is that we all agree that we need to deliver orders on time. It is perfectly fine. We've created a safe and fast way for you to request extensions. If they're granted, there is no delivery problem. As long as you're delivering your projects on time. Again, we're not only giving you the tools to request those quickly, sending out the emails to customers, making this a big deal with them, that our writers want to perform to the expectations that we've set here. We're backing it up with customer success support, open a help desk ticket, emergency happens, you can't deliver. Guys, we're here for you. We want you to be successful. But we also need to work together, and that's what we're trying to do. So yes, there are going to be some suspensions and some penalties for this stuff, and we're going to work it all out. And when you finally see this launched, which we would expect, Aaron, when do you think this star rating program will launch? What's the expectation on that?
Hopefully within no more than a couple of days. I have a couple of things that I need to tweak based on what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Just in the hour we've been on the call is ideas that have come up. But it's really just from the feedback here, and then integrating some feedback and migrating some data from the old system.
Yep.
Rewards and whatnot, and launch it. And also we need to do some obviously testing and stuff. I'm still coding this stuff, and we need to QA it.
Right. Yep. So everyone gets a feel there. Let's just go to the reward program. Well, there's only one more slide in between. So if there's a problem with anything going on with your performance, you will see when this launches a drop-down special ticket for performance rebuttal, where you can communicate to us. All of that gets saved in your records. That's the first thing we look at when we go to review your account. Notice also that we will be setting a target to review everyone's performance and changing that a little bit. We might get to a point where we want to look at every new writer after they do $1,000 worth of content orders, or $10,000, or if you've been with us for a long time and you're doing $10,000 a month in orders, we might change that to, okay, we'll see you, and then when you do 50,000 more, so maybe you're already 7 stars, so there's not really a compelling need, but we will be looking at your delivery and terms and conditions, and any violations you have, and offering any penalties accordingly. So that's how the star rating system is going to work. You can open a new ticket. Let's go to the rewards. So after a lot of thought and discussion and feedback from that original email that I sent out, which, by the way, I get it. I'm trying to certainly be a 20,000-foot CEO over here, and I'm trying to make good decisions to advance us forward. I've been fairly fortunate with an incredible team around me so far to build a great platform and a business model, and not piss off too many people along the way. But we had some feedback from some people that were like, that doesn't seem fair to us, that you're taking points away from us that we've earned. Some of the writers have been with us for 10 years. So we heard that, and we responded to that and said, you know what? Let's grant people these awards. Let's put these rewards on their profiles as badges. Let's give the people, store credits and or cash payments for any backlog we have with anybody that's in these tiers. So we are moving this forward. We want members. We will have members in these tiers. The members that you're seeing here are not perfect. There's more legwork to be done. More members will be added. Most of our words delivered, will, remember, we have designers in, so we have to get designer projects into the mix as well, because not everybody's delivering work. As it turns out, strategists and designers are working on projects, as mentioned. So you get the idea. But we've got this combined thing on the bottom. You still can't read the words on these pages. It's very small type. My apologies to that. I think you'll be happy with it overall, but you'll be able to take a look at what the tiers are, and you will be receiving.
We can also link to this PDF, after the show.
Yep, fair enough.
When we upload the video, I can upload a PDF of the slide deck so that people can zoom in and see it all.
Great call. But net, I think the badges and the recognition are really what are most important to our valued talent, and we're going to be doing that in a better way. For example, on your profile, we're going to be popping your badges in that you've earned. And by the way, you're going to have a lot more badges displayed on here. If you're in a top 100 industry category or a content asset type, or a particular a skill, you'll have badges for that as well. And so we want a lot more badges, a lot more recognition, and a lot more festivity and positive energy on your profiles, other than just the one credential that you're kind of stuck with on there now. So some exciting news there. Your profile stats will continue to be reviewed. We won't be posting any of the negative information, but we do like showing the number of completed orders you have, particularly for writers that have been with us for a long time. It's really great to see that data, but even new writers are exciting for some customers that may want to try new writers out and test their skills and their proficiency. So some good stuff there. We're also going to try to get messages to you when, using the recent activity. We're trying to move more data there for you with alerts and messages. Aaron, I think the request revision accepted is going to push in there. Yes? Are you thinking
the extension request?
Yes.
It could. They'll get an email. If it'll come as if they're subscribed for new message type alerts, it'll come as that.
Got it. Okay. And when we perform a review for a writer, it's not like we're going to call you up and have a meeting, but we will write, conceivably eventually, as this all unfolds, a message saying we reviewed your portfolio and the samples of your work. Great job. At this time we've decided to, X, raise you, lower you, whatever it is. That's, the type of stuff we want to get feedback to you and communicate with you. And the recent activity is kind of becoming the go-to place to do that. This is an old screen grab, by the way, of something I pulled out. But did want to let you know that, you'll see the opportunity for you to apply as a strategist or a designer.
I apologize for how terrible this screen looks.
It's got a lot of boxes on it, but it's we are basically, when talent are approved at Writer Access or Designer Access, they're coming into the same profile, and this is into Writer Access in general, and this is where they fill their profiles out. So please, please, please go in and look at these new categories we've created, new skills, new project maps. Go edit your profile, fill it out. It's super robust back there, and there's really a great opportunity to do things, including packages. We didn't talk about that today, but we have included the ability for you to sell a package of, say, 10 blog posts for $999. I just made that up, but 1,000-word blog posts. We are trying to move forward with, rather than just a per word count, why don't you come up with packages you want to sell your customers? We would love to see that, in particular if you are been approved for XYZ industry, and you want to have a package that you could promote for that industry. That is a big deal, and that will allow you to connect and communicate with prospect customers in new ways that you have not been able to do before. So think about all that. Please update your profiles and move that forward. We were really super excited to get, I believe, almost 500 or 600 people have completed this information. We love you dropping in more samples. I just wanted to comment quickly. When you do, when you fill this out, the continue matching survey, you go through that data. We have a lot of people in there that's going to really help you get matched up for jobs. And those are jobs, when customers use that, we send the order directly to you and see if you pick it up and are available. So there's no crowd happening here. It's our algorithm finding you based upon your samples and your survey request that's aligned and matched with the sample that the customer submitted and the credentials that they submitted. It's very, very cool technology. But the good news is we had about 600 people complete this, which is awesome. And it's enough for us to move forward in sending the raw data to Cambridge University to build out the algorithms with anonymous everything. All of your personal information is completely stripped out. They're just building an algorithm that's looking at your samples and the personal information you put in, and building an algorithm that matches you with what a customer would pop in. It's absolutely brilliant technology, and it's a major, we have a patent pending on it. And I would highly encourage you to do that. I think we're seeing customers have good results from that. We're still getting a higher percentage of exceed expectations coming through that. It's saving customers time. It's saving you time. It's trying to make matchmaking exciting and interesting. Someone's saying that on the Match Me Up orders, I have found a couple of good ones. Will you be emailing when a Match Me Up order is available? That's interesting, Aaron. Do we send a kick email?
No, we don't have Match Me Ups sending emails right now. That they have the option to sign up for them when I do get to the point of that housekeeping that would send the email. But they're sent right now in batches, so it hasn't been the top of my priority list to get the emails out for them.
Got it.
They're not done one by one like they used to be.
Got it.
They're sent out in batches right now.
Got it. Okay. So it's sort of crowd. But what your vision of the future, Aaron, is to one up those, right? I mean, especially when we get the new algorithm back.
With the new algorithm, it's still not going to be one. It used to be round robin. Is we'd give you access for an hour.
Yeah.
And after your hour is we'd assign it to a different writer, and you would move. You'd wake up at 7 in the morning and see an email that you had access at 2 a.m. and it moved on at 3 a.m. So the new methodology is that we assign a small group of people, and in the housekeeping, rather than reassigning it to new people, we add more people to that list.
Got it.
So it's, we start with 5, we add another 5, we add another 5, and at some point, if it was still available when you woke up and saw that email that we don't send yet, you'd be able to pick it up.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's going to be exciting. And more importantly, you have to realize right now we're using like a generic stock from 200,000 people that filled out a questionnaire from Cambridge University. Like that's the algorithm we're using to do this matchmaking. Frankly, it probably sucks because they're not professional writers. They're not submitting professional writing samples that could more prominently be matched with client samples. So it should be working a lot better, and we're super excited about where this is going. And again, 100% confidential, period, the end. We don't even have the data. We give it to Cambridge University in raw format, and kerplunk, it's gone and wiped out from our database structure. So we're very, very sensitive to the data, but it's critical for it to work well. And Cambridge University is super pumped about the opportunity as well. All right, let's go to some questions that you might have. Hopefully that is a good update for everyone, and you're equally as excited as we are. It's been a great hour with you on the phone here. We're about 15 minutes over, but any more questions, happy to answer them. Fire away.
For the editors signing up for MMU, that's a yes. It's an option for clients to do it, and
Aaron, you're giving me the hard question here. Are we getting a new community? No, it's just skipped over that.
Yeah, they had a deal for them down at Costco. You want me to go by and pick up a box of community?
Well, I don't know. How has life been without the community at Writer Access? I don't know. That's for you to decide. We tried to move things over in Facebook over there. It's bittersweet, really. My guess is the people on the line are been with us for a while. I see a lot of names on here we've recognized. And you probably miss that community, and in some ways we miss it too. But Aaron loved the community because he could certainly get your feelings and insights, while often not necessarily positive about the company or me in particular. That didn't bother me. It was more of the impressions that new people would have in coming to Writer Access and seeing a forum that was basically unmanaged. So I think we really need a title. We need a community manager to properly run a community. And we're going to leave it up to that community manager to decide what they would want to do with community management. So stay tuned. Let's let somebody that's a professional in that space, much more so than Aaron and I, get somebody that's really could empower you as a talent, and listen to your needs and get your help and making our platform better. That's what we dream of is obviously we love being transparent. That's our DNA. We thoroughly believe in our community and support our community and work very hard to keep our community alive and going. And that includes both talent and our customers. So kind of a fluffy answer. I don't have an answer, but I do feel badly that we chose not to build that. Facebook works, somebody says, but if people really wanted a community, then make it have absolutely no off-topic, only work-related stuff. That's the hope. So we wish that community was like that, whereas people answering questions and new writers coming on board and having boards they could go to find answers to questions. That was the vision all along. But you got to remember, we architected that, like 10 years ago when Aaron popped that up as an experiment to see if anybody would respond. So. By the way, we launched the new copywriter test, and Aaron, if people have taken the previous copywriter test, can they take the new one? Do you know?
For the old versus new copywriter test, yes, but in general, each test can only be taken the one time.
Okay.
Because they don't.
But then so if I'm a copywriter and I had taken the original copywriter test, am I going to be able to take the new copywriter test?
Yes.
Okay, great. I would highly encourage you to take that. And by the way, I would love any feedback on that. It's a new test actually created by one of our freelance writers at Writer Access. And we're looking for feedback on that copywriter test. So have at it, see what you think. Love the comments. And we had a great forum. Somebody said, it was a good run. It would have been interesting to have the forum up when we launched the new platform. I'll say that. I don't know if it would have been helpful or hurtful for the community to see messages streaming through there of bugs and problems. I think we did that pretty well to control the bugs using that software from Hotjar, that we could literally get to the bugs quickly and troubleshoot. So I think we managed that pretty well. Why not allow taking a test over again after several years have passed and a lot learned?
Because we gave you the answers when you took it the first time. So it makes little sense, you know.
Which test would you want to take over? The general writing test was not something that we could step up. If we did, we'd probably have to make it quite a bit harder. The copywriter test, we definitely did reboot, and now you can take both tests. So we're moving in the right direction. We have an editor test. Frankly, I'd like to rework the editor test. So maybe we'll make that a priority. You know, food for thought. So what other questions might you have?
I think Joe asked about, he had already requested one of his tiers for the rewards program. And basically when I'm migrating the data, I am nuking your request so that you're eligible for it again in the new system. So rather than getting a t-shirt, you'll get whatever the current thing is. I think it's like the $50 payout or the $35 or the $50 store credit or $35 payout.
The 1 million prize, we do have that. Somebody asked about that. So a million prize gets you $75 store credit or $50 cash payment.
So the button will light up for you and you'll be able to request that. And instead of getting the mystery prize, you'll be able to get the 75/50 or whatever it is.
Exactly. And if anybody wants the mystery prizes we used to mail out, send me a personal request and I will accommodate. My garage is filled with lots of mysterious things that I will have to mail out to each of you that requests a mystery $1 million prize in lieu of the store credit or the $50 cash payment. But the badges are the cool part. And we're excited about that and excited for you to showcase them. We're also excited to roll them back. We're glad we could listen and learn from everybody that submitted some feedback based upon the email we sent out and the feedback that you're listening, that you're providing here.
I don't think we're ever going to be in the business of offering a health insurance plan.
Well, that's actually not true. I've got some interesting research on there. I found the company that does health insurance for Fiverr, Upwork, and a couple of other platforms. And it's actually pretty simple to set up. But there has got to be some fine print that I will discover. But I have a meeting set up with them next week, so I'll keep everybody posted on that. Keep in mind that when I had sold my first business, Freelance Access, to Aquin, and we worked really hard to work with some major healthcare providers that we did a deal with. They were the more full-time workers from Aquin, which at the time was a $100 million company, so we had a little bit more to work with. But when I was out at an award show out in, I forget where that was, it's a press release on it. I did meet a fellow award winner that worked for a healthcare company that actually specializes in platform-centered healthcare policies. So stay tuned, guys. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're happy to continue working on alternatives for you, that are perhaps better than what you have. So stay tuned. We had a question. Is everyone, are you still there? Everyone here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There's a question on, I think that, Aaron, what's up with this? Can writers remove themselves from love lists themselves?
No.
Without having
there was a point in time where we had it, and then the CS team wanted it so that it goes through them, so they knew more, so that they could find replacements. So I'd see us being able to rejigger that at some point to.
Yeah, just send the CS an alert,
Well, no, right now they have an option to help desk tickets. That's one of the options. That's how it was changed to be done, is that it requires the CS team to do it. And the problem is you sit there for, a week or a few days or whatever, still getting emails and orders that you're not interested in.
Got it.
Really, you just want to get off the list. So take them off the list, but also send an email to the CS team as an awareness heads up thing, or we can certainly try to, when we run out of, the buggy things, to get on features like that.
Got it. Okay. So stay on us about that. That's a very fair
But
request.
it is the way it is right
We
now
don't
because
want
the
you
CS
writing
team's
content.
involvement.
We don't want to piss off customers that are not going to have writers that want to create content for them. So that makes no sense to not get that as a priority. That hurts you. It hurts clients. It's a lose-lose. So let's get it prioritized. But there's probably some other things to Aaron point that are a little bit more of a priority. Can anyone organize for group plans? Anyone can organize for group plans. That's not altogether true on the healthcare. ACA, Aaron, any update on that?
ACA is healthcare.
Oh, what about
that's a
automatic
plan.
deposits, ACH?
ACH? No update right now.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, we keep on going around with our bank and stuff.
Just out of curiosity, how many people would love to have automatic deposits into their bank account using an ACH type of a positive? How many?
We're only going to do it if all 30
Doesn't
people on the chat sign, raise their hand here. We've talked about it for a long time, and it's always been, our bank uses such antiquated ACH technology that it's difficult to automate the process. Is we've just now gotten to the point where we can automate the on-demand withdrawal to PayPal, because PayPal has an actual API, whereas the bank has an interface that's 30 years old, where you basically have to fax them a thing saying, please pay this person. It's terrible. The 1980s called and they want their fax machine back.
Yeah, by the way, we've looked at alternatives to PayPal as well and have heard some bad things from talent, and I'm wondering if anybody has any thoughts on that. I know one of our competitors switched over to a new payment platform, but to save a few bucks, I'm sure. Thank you for the nice comment there. That writers appreciate the opportunity to provide provided here and want to provide our best content. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, guys.
And the instant payouts do work.
Yes.
You just need to have more than, we charge the $7 fee. And as long as you have more than that, and it'll take everything that you have approved. It's not by the submit deadline like the normal payout procedure is. So today's the 8th and payday's tomorrow. And, if you did it right now, you'd get everything that is submitted and approved as of the moment you click the withdraw button, and not things that are submitted by, midnight Eastern time on June 30th, like the normal payout that's happening tomorrow.
Yeah. No, we're very, very happy to have the ability to launch that. The only problem is that it's unpredictable who's going to withdraw money and who's not. So we have to somehow.
I get to monitor the float.
Well,
I get to basically log into PayPal every day and make sure that we're carrying enough balance for the random people that are coming along. And Great. Yeah, Aaron's the manual and tech solution there for the PayPal problem. Anything else, guys? Give Aaron a raise. Yes, agree. Oh, very interesting. Noted. That wasn't me that typed that. I am not logged in as Christine. Yep, everyone's seeming to agree with that. Ouch. This is not where I wanted this to go. Hey, I didn't even tell him I was underpaid. How do they know that? You might be overpaid. They don't know that. Aaron is extraordinarily valued at our company, and we couldn't be where we are without him. Top 100. The CS team is manually ranking everybody for basically every talent for everything that they have on their profile. The rewards platform is so that you can get a badge, but we're still basically taking a CS or a talent team's manual scoring, relative scoring. It's, we do have a full spread. We're not going and saying who is the top 100, in general. Is we're going to, through all 400 or 500 or 600 people or however many in a particular industry or asset type, and saying this is basically where they are in a spectrum, and we can sort that list descending and pull whoever the current top 100 is. But also the new system has a badge where we're basically going to pull out and say, you are in the top 100, and it's something where you actually want the flair for it. So we're using that top 100 in a couple different ways.
This is really cool. A great question. I believe this is the question that I'm looking for. I think I found it. Will a list of top 100 writers and editors be visible to us? Is the list going to be dynamic or static? If we aren't on it initially, can we earn our way on? Great questions.
It's not static. I keep track of the last time you were where your whatever number was, picked and updated, and that way it resets, or it doesn't reset, it brings it back up for review again. So that you aren't, you don't come in the platform in your first week and get a low rating and then work for a couple of years and be stuck with your low rating. It's not like like our tests and stuff like that, where it's, one and done. Is we do have it so that we keep track of when it was assigned, and we can have an opportunity to review it over and over.
We will also be, once you deliver your performance and we hit objectives, we'll be reviewing your ranking and adjusting that manual score that we applied, which will help your overall search, will boost potentially boost your search results. Because when we initially went through that, we could only see a finite amount of data in your profile, orders completed, exceeds, etc. So that's the whole point, is creating an engine where we automatically go in and do some things and can boost your search results listings for any of the top rankings that we approve you for.
And yeah, you don't have to apply for quote unquote top 100 for the purposes of us having rated all of our talent in the various across all the different skill set types. There will be, it wasn't shown in any of the screenshots because I haven't built it yet, but when you do achieve the point where we allow you to have the specific badges, is there will be a form for you to pick what those are.
Your other question was an interesting one. Are we going to be able to see this visibly, see this? And I think it's really important that we do show that to people. I want them to see who might be above them or below them, or where they stack up, and even have a chance to rebut that and say, I don't think you looked, I redid my portfolio. I know my samples weren't great, so I redid them. Can you take a look at that again? I think I deserve a higher ranking. I mean, we want that.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, was we have that built into the system already for them, for it not to get stale.
Got it.
But otherwise, it's a whole lot of tickets that are distracting from everything else when we start saying rebut everything.
Yeah. That makes sense.
We have a lot of noise in the help desk right now, and I don't want necessarily that to go away, but I don't want to compound.
Well, that would go under the performance rebuttal.
Except that's right now for the did not meets, and bad things happened and a tornado rolled through my town, and the order was pulled for me, and I don't want it to be every time somebody wants to quibble about their placement on one of the 16 top 100 lists they're on.
Mm-hmm.
I want to gradually move into this. We just built this system, and I want it to roll out and see how it's working before we start taking on complaints with how it's working. I want to learn from the heuristics that we get ourselves first.
That's an interesting question. At the moment, I don't want new clients. Will I be penalized for not doing updates now and not adding samples now and not applying to casting calls now?
Yes, you will. Oh no, you won't. It's always been
it's the right word for it.
The only thing we ask is when people send you love list orders out of the blue or solo orders out of the blue, if you could, in a somewhat timely fashion, turn it down. Don't leave the client hanging. That's just some, we don't have a time frame on that, but just the general professionalism that we know you already have to say, hey, I'm not interested in your order.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have, obviously we have lots of, so much more active talent than even we have people who are doing orders. Is we have people that are coming in new. We have people who are just hanging out, opportunistically looking for just the right order. They may be super niche. We don't penalize you for not applying to casting calls, and we don't penalize you. You might, where our current metric for getting a performance review is, based on you actually doing work, you might not come up for review for a really long time, but I'm sure that's what would be expected. And really, you're a 6-star writer, and you don't have much up. Until we do get Byron's 7th star, you're not going up anyway.
We are going to try to promote the writers that are at the Master $1 Million Words series or 500 Project series. We're going to try to do spotlight promotions for you and make sure we give you more promotions. I mentioned boosting the search results, and then just making sure you're on at least a couple of top industry listing positions, so we can better market you and promote you. And our CS team is dialed into the fact that you're one of our top industry writers as a go-to. So we're trying to do more and make sure that we're communicating to our team, putting all this in writing, having some milestones for you to hit. So we put a lot of time and a lot of thought into the reward program, and want you to get the recognition you deserve and more business if you need it, unless you're Rebecca. Anything else? Great. Let's call it a wrap, everyone. Really enjoyed the opportunity to chat. We had a comment, as you probably saw, to try to have these quarterly. All for it. So let's congregate again soon. Thanks for the continued interest and hard work and delivering projects on time, and understanding that we're a team working together to make writer access better all the time. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you all soon.
Bye, everybody.